Hello everyone, welcome to The Lit Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Fee. Today I bring you a preview of Genre Wars via a review of my best reads of 2020, 2021, and 2022. I want to do this for a couple of reasons. It's not just to stall for time so that I can edit together my Genre Wars book battle for January 2023, my reading wrap up to determine my best read of the month. No, it's because alright, maybe I am stalling a little bit. This should be a short video, easy to edit together for when I have a busy week this week. But stay tuned to the channel, because that first Genre Wars book battle should be happening either later this week or you'll get the video early next week. But for now, I think it helps to look back over 2020, 2021, and 2022 because I have a mission to do a best read of the decade contest at the end of the 2020s. And since I'm now converting the book battles to Genre Wars, it'll be nice to have the data for the last few years. I'll go ahead and put books up on the screen. Anything that you see was a best read of the month or a wild card winner. 16 books determined for each year to go into the battle. So I know there are 12 months in a year, don't get confused. I end up with 16 from the 12 months and the 4 wild cards. Back in 2020, I actually picked the wild cards. For 2021 and 2022, I allowed myself to have ties for the best read of the month, and those ties became those extra wild cards. In Genre Wars, I have 8 categories. We have general fiction, fantasy, what I call MTC, mystery, thriller, and crime. Then we have horror. Those 4 make up the first half of each bracket for the month. The second half will be science fiction, classic, non-fiction, and the wild category, though we can really ignore the wild part today for this video because we're not going to slot anything into that. Back in 2020, there on the screen you should see my 16 books that were slotted in as best reads and wild cards. Taking a look at them, I have 3 that fit into general fiction, 2 for fantasy, 4 for mystery, thriller, crime, sadly 0 for horror. Science fiction had 3 winners, classic sadly had none, and then non-fiction, which I used to be really big on reading, had 4 winners for that year, which means looking at the genres, figuring out what my best reads were back in 2020 where my mind was, there's a tie for most monthly wins. Mystery, thriller, crime had 4 and non-fiction had 4. I doubt we're gonna see non-fiction. The best read of the year ended up being The Kite Runner, which I would group under general fiction as literary fiction. So it's interesting to see the most wins for the year versus the actual winner for the year overall. Then we get to 2021, the books that made it into the end of the year book battle. We've got 1 general fiction, 4 for fantasy, 2 for mystery, thriller, crime, 4 for horror, 4 for science fiction, 0 for the classics, and 1 non-fiction. Non-fiction really fell from 4 down to 1. That gives us a 3-way tie at 4 total books with fantasy, horror, and science fiction, and that sounds very much what a lot of those monthly book battles came down to. A lot of fantasy, horror, and science fiction. Very much speculative fiction in my eclectic reading taste. The best read of the year winner that year was Different Seasons by Stephen King. Stephen King has some multi-genre books like this where it's hard to put them in a category. Most people shelf this under horror, so we're gonna go with that as the official genre for the best read of the year winner. And that brings us to the year 2022. In 2022, there were 0 monthly victories for general fiction. How sad. It went from 3 in 2020 down to 1 in 2021 and then 0 in 2022. I'm rooting for you, general fiction. This is the category that has historical fiction, literary fiction, realistic fiction, romance, though I doubt romance is going to ever win a monthly book battle for me. But it also has things like westerns, cowboy stories. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not this will get any in 2023. Then we get to the monster category of fantasy. In 2022, fantasy had 7 books in the end of the year book battle, which you can already tell that's going to win. Nothing is going to beat 7 books for that year. So fantasy wins the most monthly wins for the year. And then mystery, thriller, crime went from 4 wins in 2020 to 2 in 2021 and 0 in 2022. Though that is because Silvio Moreno Garcia's retelling of the island of Dr. Moreau as the daughter of Dr. Moreau technically goes under science fiction, but you could put it in this mystery, thriller, crime section if you really wanted to. Horror ended up with 4 winners. Science fiction ended up with 4 winners. That means that's 2 years in a row that both horror and sci-fi had 4 books make it into that end of the year book battle. That's awesome. And then the classics had 1, just 1, with that play from Shakespeare. And nonfiction fell all the way to 0. 0 wins for the nonfiction category in 2022. Hopefully that's going to go up in 2023. Hopefully we'll have at least a month or two that nonfiction knocks it out of the park. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? In 2022, my best read of the year was Flowers for Algernon, which I put in science fiction. So there you have it. My review of 2020, 2021, and 2022 so that we get a sense of those numbers if genre wars had been going on. And I hope you are looking forward to 2023 with a genre wars book battle at the end of each month as we begin to really delve into an analysis of my eclectic reading taste. And I am excited to see what you're going to be rooting for. Do you care which genres are going to win for 2023 or for the decade? Are you more excited for general fiction, fantasy, mystery, thriller, crime, horror, sci-fi, classics, nonfiction? Or do you just want to see what crazy things I put into that wild category every month? Whether it's going to be one of those categories or maybe I may surprise you with some poetry. So stay tuned to the channel because coming up here soon, you will have some poetry in the January 2023 book battle for Genre Wars. That's it for today. That's all I had to say for this preview via review, but every day is a good day for a book battle, a genre war, or a book talk. Peace.